Welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Kelsey Kiesling.
And I'm Kendra Cook. The Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV, and the Southwest TV Translator Association underwrites the news show.
If you have a news topic or tips you'd like to see covered, give us a call. The studio number is 677-4119.
Today's show is live on Monday at noon and rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m. and again re-aired on Thursday at noon, 3 and 6.
Coming up, more on the Gold King mine mess, Colorado heat is on, and more.
And also motorcycle crash, more fun with bears with the weather, sheriff's roundup, and area happenings. Today is August 7th, 2017, and now the news at noon. From the Durango Herald, in Gold King Mine updates, Environmental Protection Agency Chief Scott Pruitt's visit to the Superfund site north of Silverton last Friday has encouraged state and local officials who say they were promised it would be a top priority for cleanup. Pruitt visited the Gold King mine about 10 miles north of Silverton, nearly 2 years after an EPA contracted crew accidentally released 3 million gallons of mine wastewater, polluting the Animas and San Juan rivers. Pruitt was joined by Governor John Hickenlooper, Senators Michael Bennet and Cory Gardner, Representative Scott Tipton, La Plata County Commissioner Brad Blake, and Durango City Councilors Dean Brookie and Dick White, among others. Brookie told the Herald afterward that Pruitt seemed to have a good understanding of the reality and expanse of the Bonita Peak Mining District Superfund area, which spans 48 mining-related sites in the Animas watershed. Brookie said Pruitt repeatedly expressed total commitment to continue to fund and the cleanup and reassured the group that the area is atop of his list of priorities. It seemed they were here to express their desire to do this comprehensively and expeditiously, Brookie said, and I don't think it was a token visit for political purposes of any kind. In a news release, Pruitt said EPA should be held to the same standard as those we regulate. The previous administration failed those who counted on them to protect the environment. Pruitt has vowed to reevaluate 73 claims, totaling $1.2 billion in rejected damage compensation. A new review is paramount to ensure that those who have, in fact, suffered losses have a fair opportunity to have their claims heard, he said. A town hall held in Durango after the tour, which was supposed to be centered on the Superfund site and Gold King mine, quickly veered off track, with most questions aimed at Gardner on a range of issues, including healthcare, climate change, and immigration. Dozens of protesters gathered outside the venue, some to challenge Pruitt's policies and others to goad on Gardner for not holding an in-person town hall meeting for 493 days. Gardner said Pruitt believed the EPA walked away from its responsibility in the Gold King mine spill and that it is a priority that the agency make it right. Since the spill, the EPA has spent more than $29 million in its response and reimbursed more than $3.5 million to local, state, and tribal governments for costs incurred from the release. The agency has also done numerous remediation projects throughout the watershed, including stabilizing the Gold King mine portal, identifying and completing short-term projects, and conducting water testing and evaluations of mine workings. The site was declared a Superfund in the fall of 2016, just a year after the spill.
According to the Cortez Journal, for more than 20 years, the town of Silverton resisted Superfund status, concerned about federal intervention, the potential loss of mining, and long-standing belief local efforts could clean up the legacy of leaking mines. But one of the more prominent concerns expressed by residents in the small mountain hamlet was that the supposed stigma attached to a Superfund listing would hurt the town's highly tourism-dependent economy. Yet, on August 5, 2015, the town hit a turning point when an EPA-contracted crew breached the portal of the Gold King mine, sending 3 million gallons of acidic, heavy metal-laden water down the Animas and San Juan rivers. The spill, which turned the waterways a bright mustard yellow, triggered emergency responses in 3 states and 2 Native American tribes, sending shockwaves to those communities that were left scrambling for information. And it also served as the breaking point for the community of Silverton after the spill brought international attention to southwest Colorado, ultimately causing the town to buckle to Superfund status in fall 2016. The Bonita Peak Mining District Superfund site now consists of 48 mining-related sites around Silverton that contribute to degrading water quality in the Animas River watershed. Many of these sites date back to the early 1800s and late 1900s. But now, 2 years after the Gold King mine spill, has Silverton's fear that Superfund's stigma would scare people off from visiting the mountain town in fact materialized? No, said Deanne Gallegos, director of the Silverton Area Chamber of Commerce. To be honest, we haven't received any stigma, and tourism has been fantastic in San Juan County, especially this summer. The two sets of numbers that best support this claim are the town and county's sales tax, the community's primary revenue source, as well as property values, a strong indicator of a community's economic weight. Silverton Interim Town Administrator Michelle Hamilton said the annual sales tax in 2014, 1 year before the Gold King mine blowout, was recorded at $730,001. And every year since, it has been increasing, she said. In 2015, sales tax revenue was $826,760. 1 year after the spill, sales tax hit a record $955,979. And this year, the town is on track to have a strong, stable year, she said.
As reported in the Durango Herald, a nonprofit supported by First Southwest Bank recently received money to create a revolving loan fund to support small businesses. The Colorado Office of Economic Development and International Trade awarded the First Southwest Community Fund $400,000, and the nonprofit expects to receive the money in the next 2 weeks, the nonprofit's president, Kent Curtis, wrote in an email. He continued that through First Southwest Community's funds, revolving loan funds, we hope to create tangible economic opportunities in areas where unemployment is higher, family income is lower, and educational attainment is stagnant. The fund will be focused on serving Pagosa Springs and San Luis Valley regions with low-interest loans. However, businesses from La Plata County are encouraged to apply. If the state legislature allocates funding next year, First Southwest Community Fund will receive an additional $100,000 in 2018. Region 9 Economic Development District of Southwest Colorado does similar lending, and the fund's staff hopes to partner with them. The nonprofit will be focused on serving small and emerging businesses, outdoor recreational businesses, and women-owned businesses. It will also serve fledgling agricultural businesses that have difficulty acquiring financing and are not eligible for Farm Service Agency loans if the business is less than 3 years old. Businesses looking for funds to develop proof of concept products from ideas in order to create product and start generating revenue are also eligible for the loans. For more details on the programs available, go online to fswcf.org.
Reported by the Cortez Journal, a 71-year-old Cortez man was airlifted to a Denver hospital on Sunday after riding his motorcycle off a sharp curve and crashing into a ditch. According to Colorado State Patrol Trooper Blaine Smith, Ronald Kraft was riding a Harley-Davidson motorcycle westbound on County Road G in Montezuma County at about 10 a.m. when he overshot a left turn and ran off the right side of the road. The motorcycle went down an embankment and into a drainage ditch containing about 6 inches of water. Smith said alcohol and drugs are not suspected. Witnesses said he was wearing a helmet, Smith said, but excessive speed might have been a factor. It was a pretty sharp curve down there, Smith said of the road, which travels through McElmo Canyon. Kraft was taken by ambulance to Southwest Memorial Hospital in Cortez, then airlifted to Denver Health Medical Center, which is equipped for major traumatic injuries. Chelsea Hansen, who flew with Kraft to Denver, said late Sunday that he was in an intensive care unit but was doing good and was alert and talking. Smith said Kraft was riding his motorcycle alone but was traveling with his friend Andy Peacock of Durango, who was on a separate motorcycle. Peacock said he's known Kraft for about 30 years. He said the two were traveling to Bluff, Utah. The speed limit is 40 miles per hour on that section of Road G, with a cautionary speed limit of 15 miles per hour at the curve. Minutes after the crash, a visibly shaken Peacock told the Journal that the two were riding about 20 miles per hour and that Kraft might have become distracted by oncoming motorcyclists.
From the Cortez Journal, in response to the extremely popular Sturgis motorcycle rally in South Dakota, the Colorado Department of Transportation and Colorado State Patrol will ramp up DUI enforcement until August 14th to keep people safe from impaired drivers. In Colorado, motorcyclists make up 3% of drivers but account for 18% of overall fatalities. Daryl Link, director of CDOT's Office of Transportation Safety Director, in a news release said Colorado recorded an all-time high for motorcycle fatalities in 2016. There were 125 motorcycle fatalities in 2016, which is a 15% increase from the number of motorcycle fatalities in 2015. 92 law enforcement agencies will participate in the DUI Blitz, and drivers should expect additional patrols, DUI checkpoints, and extra officers on duty. First-time DUI offenders can be punished with up to 1 year in jail, license suspension, and steep fines. Penalties increase for repeat offenders. Colonel Scott Hernandez, chief of CSP, said motorcycle use spikes in the summer, and the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally is a popular destination for riders and other motor vehicle drivers alike. Impaired driving is a serious hazard to everyone, and we are prepared to protect all drivers and riders on the road. For more information and tips for staying safe on the road, visit heatisoncolorado.com.
Reported by the Cortez Journal, older people are dying on the job at a higher rate than workers overall, even as the rate of workplace fatalities decreases, according to an Associated Press analysis of federal statistics. It's a trend that's particularly alarming as baby boomers reject the traditional retirement age of 65 and keep working. The U.S. government estimates that by 2024, older workers will account for 25% of the labor market. Getting old and the physical changes associated with it could potentially make a workplace injury into a much more serious injury or a potential fatal injury, said Ken Scott, an epidemiologist with the Denver Public Health Department. Gerontologists say those changes include gradually worsening vision and hearing impairment, reduced response time, balance issues, and chronic medical or muscle or bone problems like arthritis. In 2015, about 35% of the fatal workplace accidents involved a worker 55 and older, or 1,681 of the 4,836 fatalities reported nationally. The AP analysis showed that overall workplace fatality rate for all workers and for those 55 and older decreased by 22% between 2006 and 2015. But the rate of fatal accidents among older workers during that time period was 50% to 65% higher than for all workers, depending on the year. The number of deaths among all workers dropped from 5,480 in 2005 to 4,836 in 2015. By contrast, on-the-job fatalities among older workers increased slightly from 1,562 to 1,681, the analysis shows. And now here's our weather report.
Thus far in August, the weather station in the southwest end of Dolores County has recorded a not-so-staggering total of 607 inches of rain. If you've had more, please let us know. There's some discrepancy between the National Weather Service 7-day online and the fine print. The 7-day online has our area set at 30% chances of scattered showers and thunderstorms today till midnight, with a break and then more activity Tuesday afternoon. The fine print says the front causing this is above the divide and will push westward and southward. And most, if not all, activity will be east and north of that frontal line. Fine print also suggests that the frontal line may not reach DCTV country, but we will be close nevertheless. They also say that by tomorrow morning, the front will be nearly stationary, and it will remain so throughout Wednesday. By Thursday, flow around a high centered over Texas will cause monsoonal moisture to reach into our forecast area. So that shower and thunderstorm activity should be more numerous from Thursday through Saturday. If the boundary reaches over us today, we'll see some activity and then more later in the week, probably. A low pressure wave will travel eastward along the front, extending from mid-Atlantic region to the southern plains. The trailing edge of that frontal boundary will remain mostly stationary over the lower Mississippi Valley and the southern plains through midweek. Rounds of showers and thunderstorms will focus along this boundary, producing heavy rainfall amounts and increased risk for flooding. The leading edge of the front will cross the Appalachians and lift through the mid-Atlantic states. Rainfall will be concentrated over eastern Tennessee and from the Chesapeake Bay vicinity to Cape Cod, and those areas will also have increased threat for flooding. Another cold front traveling south and east through southern Canada will make its way into the northern high plains, upper Mississippi Valley, and the upper Great Lakes by tomorrow. That will cause showers and thunderstorms in the northern tier states. In the west, weak upper level impulses extending from the northern California area to the central Rockies will produce showers and thunderstorms over the region. The high for today is to be 76, with the following 5 days expected to run in the low to mid 80s, and lows are likely still to be in the upper 50s. Winds today will run at 5 to 10, and the same for tonight. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are possible until 9 p.m., then scattered showers on till midnight. Now back to the news.
Reported by the Cortez Journal, a bear that broke into an SUV early Friday in Durango took it for a short ride, rolling it out of a driveway and crashing it into a mailbox. The commotion woke Ron Cornelius and his wife, who found the trashed Subaru in their yard on Timberline Drive in Timberline View Estates. After the bear broke into the car, it likely released the parking brake somehow, he said. The couple didn't see the bear leave the SUV and called 911 after the crash because they didn't know if people were to blame and possibly still in the vehicle. The car rolled backward from a neighbor's home into Cornelius's mailbox and over some utility boxes, he said. La Plata County Sheriff's Office deputies determined a bear was to blame because it defecated in the car, likely because it was nervous, Cornelius said. It also ripped up the interior of the vehicle. It pulled the steering wheel straight off the shaft, ripped the radio out of the dash, and busted out the back window. He wasn't sure what was in the vehicle that attracted the bear. Bears have been active around Durango this summer, breaking into garbage cans and cars. City code enforcement officers in Durango have responded to more than 200 complaints involving bears and trash so far this year. Last year, the officers responded to 56 bear calls total, said Code Enforcement Officer Steve Barkley. Most people are upgrading trash cans to the wildlife-resistant containers, but it's important for residents to remember to keep those cans closed and secure, he said. A late frost on June 10th hurt acorn and berry production in the mountains. Recent rains might help with natural food sources, but the agency does not expect bears to stop searching for human food in garbage cans, compost piles, and other sources, he said.
Last week's CO2 report is in, and the average was 406.41. 1 year ago, it was 403.54, and 10 years ago, 382.68. State taxes in Maryland fund a program that gives farmers as much as $90 per acre, $22,500 annually for the typical corn operation, to plant a crop that's not intended for harvest. This cost to the state's coffers is a cool $24 million in 2015. As algae dies, it sucks oxygen from the water, suffocating or driving away marine life, a big problem in the Chesapeake Bay area. Cleaning up the dead zones would lead to more productive fisheries, increased tourism, and higher property values, benefits that would total $22 billion per year, according to the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. Nitrogen fertilizes a bumper crop of algae. Nitrogen is used heavily to fertilize corn. The runoff and subsoil transference of nitrogen to rivers leads to excessive algal growth. By paying farmers to plant a winter hardy crop like rye right after corn is harvested in the fall, Maryland's trying to solve that problem. The rye absorbs the excess nitrogen and is typically harvested in the spring before it matures into an actual grain crop to make way for corn and soybeans. The chaff is either tilled under or left, as is when farmers plant into it, and the dead vegetation crowds out weeds. A 1998 University of Maryland study that showed planting rye after corn reduced nitrate levels leaching by about 80%. When cover crops were used for 7 straight seasons, the researchers found that nitrate levels in the water table dropped by 50% or more. Now, more than half of all corn and soybean acres in Maryland are covered in the winter, keeping 3.4 million pounds of nitrogen out of the Chesapeake Bay.
Reported by the Durango Herald, protesters swarmed the 1100 block of East 2nd Avenue of Durango on Friday, and while most were on the west sidewalk for a town hall meeting to discuss the 2015 Gold King mine spill, some were outside the La Plata County Courthouse with signs that read "Justice for Sam." Among them was Jeanette Phillips, mother of Samuel Zarius Gordon, a Fort Lewis College student who was shot and killed during a home invasion robbery that occurred May 24, 2016 at 253 Jenkins Ranch Road in the Skyridge subdivision east of downtown Durango. She was awaiting a 3:30 p.m. hearing in which the fourth defendant, Cody Maz E. Quatley, would plead guilty for his involvement in the home invasion that preceded her son's shooting death. She stood outside the courthouse with family and friends to oppose a plea agreement offered by the 6th Judicial District Attorney's Office, which lowered the Quatley's charge from first-degree murder to felony burglary and conspiracy to commit burglary. Phillips said District Attorney Christian Champagne told her he had enough evidence to convict all four defendants of first-degree murder, robbery, and burglary at trial. But instead, the defendants were offered plea agreements, a common practice in criminal cases. Quatley pleaded guilty Friday before District Judge William Herringer. He faces 10 to 24 years in prison. He is set for sentencing at 2 p.m. October 13th in Durango. Phillips said the district attorney's office told her it offered plea agreements to avoid trials, which can be expensive and time-consuming. Champagne said he understands the victim's family is upset and frustrated by the judicial process. Plea agreements were offered because it was the fair and just resolution in those circumstances, he said.
From the Dove Creek Chamber of Commerce, the Cortez Balloon Rendezvous successfully concluded its 13th year early Sunday morning as crews, pilots, and spectators woke up to a red full moon setting to the west. About 20 balloons were rolled out on the wet green grass of Parque de Vida and got set up for liftoff. The hot air flaming was a welcome burst of warmth as morning temps dipped right below the 50-degree mark. The organizer, Candy C., gathered the attendees to thank the sponsors and deliver the final weather report as a single yellow latex balloon was let loose. As it ascended, pilots looked up to track the prevailing lower-level winds. The, quote, glow-off on Saturday night in between the stormy weather was said to be just the fourth one to succeed in over a dozen years. Weather is, of course, a most important element to safe ballooning. The Saturday evening gathering was well enjoyed by all participants, having spontaneously taken on a toga party theme. On our Facebook page, you can enjoy some photos and video as the balloons that flew south over Cortez towards Farmington, while the chase crew trucks and vans packed up and hit the road to follow the lofty action. The next area balloon event will be held in Mancos, the 12th annual Mancos Valley Balloon Festival and Street Fair, Saturday, September 24th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
And now for the Dolores County Sheriff's Roundup for the week of July 31st through August 6th. There was a report of cattle near Highway 141. The owner was contacted to secure their cattle. A white poodle mix was found on Main. If you are missing a poodle mix, please contact the sheriff's office. A county resident reported a truck stranded on Highway 491. The Samaritan resident assisted the occupants and wanted to let the sheriff's office know they are safely awaiting a tow truck. A Rico resident requested an officer for advice on a situation they were attempting to defuse and not escalate. An officer responded. A resident motorist reported a passenger in a vehicle waving a gun out of the window. An officer responded and found it was a teenager waving a toy gun. An employee at a town business called to request clarification on a law and also requested an officer to pick up an item left by a customer. An officer responded. That's it for today's roundup. Stay tuned for continuing updates.
In today's High Canyon Country happenings, Saturday, August 12th is a Paint and Sip at the Cortez Cultural Center from 6 to 9 p.m., an evening of artist-led painting accompanied by a selection of delicious wines and light snacks. No matter your skill level, the experienced instructor will help you create a colorful painting to take home and enjoy. It's $28 for members and $35 for non-members. The price includes a 16 by 20 inch canvas, paint supplies, instruction, one beverage, 21 and older for alcohol, and light snacks. Additional beverages are available for purchase. There are no refunds within 48 hours of the event, and you can find out more online on their Facebook page. Thursday, August 10th to 11th is Montezuma School to Farm project training. They invite pre-K to K through 12th grade teachers, homeschoolers and non-traditional teachers, school garden educators, parents, community gardeners, and outdoor educators to join them for the annual school garden training in Mancos, Colorado. While this training is designed to benefit staff, new and old, others doing similar work are welcome. Visit montezumaschooltofarm.org for more information. And Saturday, August 12th in Dove Creek, a Ladies' Day Out, Fill My Cup Lord, will be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Dove Creek Community Center. Musicians Deb Coburn and Pam Robeson. Speaker Pastor Cherie Cobb, and donations are accepted. For lunch reservations, contact Sherry at 970-394-4094, Candy 677-2990, Claudine 677-2652, or Shirley at 562-4490. Sponsors are the Fellowship Baptist, Assembly of God, and Methodist churches. All of the happenings are posted on our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, along with the YouTube replays, weather, and original stories and local posts. To share your event or information, contact us. It's dcbnnews@gmail.com or call the station 677-4119, and we'll be sure to get your news on air.
Thanks for tuning in. News at Noon airs live at noon Monday through Wednesday and then rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m. and again re-aired Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in the same order at noon, 3, and 6.
And be sure to check us out on Facebook. It's DCTV News at Noon. We're at 99 looking for 100. Please like us there and share with a friend.
For Kendra Cook, Jerry Tope, and everyone at DCTV with the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. Thanks for watching.